I'm here today with Raph from the Brief Store, and we're just going to sit here and have a chat about what he does. Tell me all about the Brief Store. I'm fascinated.
Oh, I can. Yeah. All right. So, what do you want to know about the Brief Store?
I want to know when it started, what you
Okay.
do, because
So-
I've got a lot of clients who'd be very interested to
Okay,
know
let's
what
do
you
this. So, okay, let's start selling then.
Okay, sell.
No, I guess so. I started the Brief Store 18 months ago.
Yep.
Yeah, just under there. Yeah, it was. I always been involved with sales in a way,
Yep.
marketing, sales, and I always loved photography as a hobby. I decided to go to Brazil to visit my family 2 years ago, and I saw a massive opportunity on what was happening, this revolution of content. And I noticed that in Brazil, it was quite interesting because everybody has a major social media presence.
Right.
So you go to any business, doesn't matter the size. It can be John Smith hot dogs on the corner of some street, and he has a better following and a better engagement than most businesses in New Zealand.
Interesting.
And it's just a one-man band with a shitty phone, and it's just a culture, it's just a personality. And then you start, because you're there, I was there visiting my family. I live in New Zealand for over 15 years now.
Right.
So I visit periodically, and I was just there, and I saw that happening. I was like, well, what is happening here? There's so much content being created. And then I saw the result of that, which was people were starting to get together or follow those accounts because of the personality, because of the storytelling, because of the vibes, because of the educational points, because of the entertainment points. But they were following there. And because they were following those accounts, those people, the businesses, they had a massive leverage on creating a different product, on maybe selling a digital product. Maybe you sell hot dogs, but then you're actually going to sell a course on how to make the sauce. Right? So you create other revenues because you already have the following. So for me, it was very clear that there was this revolution happening, which is you don't have to push the product to people. You just teach what you do in an entertaining way, in a beautiful way, and then people will follow you because they want to be entertained and educated.
So you're saying because the content on their social media was so good, that was why their following was greater
That's
than...
exactly it. So, and I don't mean good as in quality. I don't
Right.
mean like filmed with cinema cameras.
Yeah.
I mean good as in I have gained something from this.
Right.
It could be a terrible phone with crappy audio, but the person has rich personality.
Right.
You know, and I laugh every time I watch her video or his video, and I'm like, okay, I want to see more of this, so I follow. You know, and then there, which is basically the world of influencing, right? The influencers gain followers because of that, because they're giving something, you know, companionship or whatever it is. But I noticed that in Brazil, they were like light years ahead of places like New Zealand and Australia, because the content here was only made on a high-end basis.
Right.
Content is only like production companies, like high-end, that you make one masterpiece and then you take one reel out of there and you post it on your Instagram and no one sees it. And you do that once a month and maybe like once every 3 months, and you don't get a momentum, you get nothing out of it, because the game of main media and the game of social media are different. And people in countries like Brazil, India, China, they have seen this, they realize this, so they are making content and strategies and marketing to sell on social media, not on main media.
Right.
When in New Zealand it's still very large, the idea of you create content for main media and then we also do social media. You know, social media is a byproduct, almost like a add-on. Oh, and we also do social media. And they don't, because there's no strategy for social media. There's strategy for main media,
Right.
but not for social media. So when I was there, I saw this, and it was clear to me. I was like, okay. I was, for the past year or so, couple of years, I was looking into opening another business. I've been into business for a while. And I'm like, okay, I need to open something else. And then it was just a decision of like opening something there, because I actually like raised the idea of maybe opening something there. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I live in New Zealand. I want to open something in Auckland. And then I came to Auckland and I decided to open the Brief Store. So it was supposed to be initially the name Brief, right?
Yeah.
The Brief Store. So
It's a great name.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's the reason is very simple. Like the word brief means two things in the creative world. Well, it means short in the world, right? Like so, it's brief, it's short. Something is short. I'll tell you a brief story.
Yeah.
So it's a very short story. But also, a brief is the seed of any creative element. So to do anything creatively, you have to put a blueprint, and that blueprint is also called a brief, right? So it's elements that you need, is the colors that you want to use, is who you want to achieve, all of that stuff. So that's the brief. So because I want to become the one-shop stop for all of that social media needs, I decided to put the name store as well. So like that's one place, you know. So it became the Brief Store. So we actually started making content and all sorts of content, you know, like just filming events and filming this and filming that. And then very quickly I realized that that's not the game that the Brazilians were playing. The game that the Brazilians were playing is more towards the personal branding.
Right.
So it's more towards the accounts that had a face on, you know. So yes, you can thrive on social media with your account not having a face on. Yeah, absolutely you can. But what we specialize on is the personal connection, is people getting to know Debbie, not Three Little Wishes.
Yeah.
You know, it's the whole idea of Elon Musk behind Tesla, Steve Jobs behind Apple. You know, like the
Well, it builds a trust, I suppose. doesn't it?
exactly. So like there is something there. Even those big names that I just said, they realize because they didn't have to be creating content, but they're bigger than the accounts. So Elon Musk account is bigger than Tesla's account because he understands that there is the power, you know, creating their authority. Because once you have that, now you can sell whatever within inside your niche because people just trust you. They already know you. They feel like they know you, you know. So it's so that was kind of the beginning, the seed of where we started. And then obviously the business is bootstrapped, so it kind of like started slowly. I put all my investment on it and then just bought all the gear that I needed and then started slowly making portfolio for us.
Yeah.
And today I'm proud to say that we have like names like JBL under the belt. So like we're very happy now. So it's going well. Yeah.
And a good team behind you?
Oh, and amazing. Like honestly, I'm a very lone wolf kind of vibe. So my team is my family. It really is. Like the team is very intense together. Like we all good mates. We friends. I love it. Yeah, I love it. Like without my teammates, it would be absolutely impossible to be where we are now. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, very happy with that.
So if I had a student or one of our businesses that's currently running and they were interested in social media, what do they do to press the button with you?
To work with me or to get benefits from what the Brief Store does? Both? Okay, so to work with us, we are always looking for the masters of the arts, you know, like video editors, sound technicians, if you are a videographer, you know, assistant, as you mentioned, a student, we're always looking for talent that just came out of school and wanted to understand a bit more. And
that's really good to know because so often we're asked that.
We're always looking for, because the teams, the creative teams, what I try to do is, and that's a philosophy that I bring from other businesses, I try to always let people thrive on what they're good instead of making them average of what they suck. So if you're good at something, just do that thing alone, you know. So for example, I am a big fan of cutting a bit of the profit, but always take a team that's bigger than what I need. Yeah. So I always take a couple of assistants. Oh, but why do you need a couple of assistants? They would just like have their hands on their pockets. That's not true, because if I need a cup of coffee and somebody just like is willing to just go and grab a cup of coffee, my client will be extremely happy with that. When my boys want the camera and they were just on the camera, you know, so like that way we are focused each one on a topic, and then that's okay. You just do what you're best at, you know, plus the mutual benefit, which is
huge, isn't it?
Exactly, because let's be honest though, like in this industry, being in a set and learning is the best way to learn. You know, theory is great, but you can read all books about swimming, but until you hit the water, you don't know what swimming is. No. So when you hit when you get yourself into a late session that we have to smash filming because we have to get this done, and the pressure and the director is a bit of a pain today. So you know how it is. Like a student that just came off school and doesn't know that. So you have to smell it, you have to taste it, you have to feel it to see if it's for you. Because it might not be for you. You know, like that's it. So the benefit is we have we ended up getting help, which is fairly low cost help, you know. And then we give this course, which is you're gonna learn on the go, on the arena, you know. You're gonna get the tools and you're gonna learn.
Yeah.
And then people, sometimes there's a thing like, I have been asked, they're like, oh, how much do you pay for the assistants? I'm like, oh, minimum wage. Oh, isn't it a bit like, you know, shitty to pay minimum wage? And I'm like, well, I guess you have a point. If the person has skills, then he's not an assistant anymore. He'll be a camera too. He'll be a production assistant, but not just a raw assistant. But the thing is, we have had problems before where people come completely raw, and they will just open a stand, and then the light will just come crashing down. And we're talking about $6,000-7,000 light.
Big
so
money.
when you think about it, it's actually expensive to pay anything for somebody that has no idea, because sometimes it's a hazard on the studio. So what we normally do is people that are involved, that are wanting to be involved, we bring them in for free. We just be like, okay, come along for a couple of hours, bring your own car.
Yeah.
You don't have to come at this time or leave at that time. You can stick around, don't touch anything. Okay, cool. Then the person have a feel, oh, I like this. Okay, cool. I want to work as an assistant for you guys. All right, that's great. So there will be minimum wage for a while, and then you can just work and then see how it goes. But everything that you're going to do, you have to be, you know, taken care of. So you're going to ask somebody in person, will be like, okay, it's done this way, go do it. You know, so yeah.
Oh, that's a really great opportunity.
But if you have people, please honestly send it our way.
Yeah, no, I will.
Because we always need some students, some king guys, you know, like absolutely, and girls, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, definitely take you up on
Let's
that.
do it, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Looking more at the business side of things, with anybody who wants to actually use the Brief Store and to look at content and social media, presumably, well, obviously they're getting into contact with you. What happens? What's the process?
So there's a very clear process on how we do things at the Brief Store, right? So it's because we're not just another social media agency. We very structured on how we do things. I would say the first thing that we have to do is basically go through a if meeting.
Right.
An if meeting for me is one of the best things that we have invented on the process, because it takes the pressure out of the prospect and out of us.
Okay.
In terms of, I have to make a sale and I don't. We're there to provide a service, and sometimes the service is not what you need. So if meeting is basically booking a meeting with us. Normally it's me. I'll be on the strategy side of things, and I'll just listen to what you need to do, and I'll see if I can deliver that to you.
Right.
I'll also check some points that we need you to have in order for us to deliver that campaign in a high standard. So, for example, you have to be well spoken enough to have your content filmed, right? So basically we have had people trying to create content with us, but English is not the first language, and then it's a bit of a barrier, right? So we have to be very careful, and it has to be a if situation, because most marketing agencies, they would just like go crazy for another client. We are boutique agencies, so we can take only a maximum amount of numbers, and we select the numbers that we take in, because that way we can work with the teams that will go ahead. The success of the client will be guaranteed, right? So I would say go through the if meeting first. If the if is a yes, so whatever you need to afford or whatever you need to achieve, we can do it for you, and if you can afford it, which is also another point, right? So you have to have a budget meeting as well, right? So that's all inside that if.
Right.
The second step is basically a contract meeting, which is talking about volume and strategy. So let's just say we're going to be doing authority funnels, which is making you the boss of what you do, right? So Debbie will be seen as the biggest name in education for media in New Zealand, right? How are we going to get there? We're going to have to do this many videos, this many carousels, and that style of content. We're going to do ads, we're not going to do ads. So all of that stuff is on that second meeting. Once that's done, then you go ahead, we make a contract and first payment and all that stuff. And then we go into the brief system. So brief system stands for BRIEF. So it's actually an acronym now. So the B stands for blueprint. So that's when we do the first meeting and we create a map. Where are we going? How are we going to get there? How long it's going to take us? what sort of vehicle we're going to use. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, what is it going to be? What sort of style of content we're going to do it? How often we're going to post it? What we're going to film in? Honestly, it goes down to the minimal details of what we're going to do. That's the blueprint. The next step would be the resources, which is getting their blueprint and then making it into a reality. All the designs, the accounts, Facebook and Instagram, if we don't have them ready, all the photos, all the videos, editing, everything that you need to make it a reality. So you have all the resources. Now you go into implementation, which is implementing all of those resources into the accounts that you have decided on the blueprint.
Right.
So Facebook and Instagram, for example, we'll then push all of that into the Instagram and Facebook in a way that we believe is the right way for their strategy. So we'll then push the implementation forward, and then after that we go into the engagement. E for engagement is what's basically going to create people to tell you what they think of your content.
Right.
So we're going to read the data with likes, comments, saves, things like that. And then we're just going to, from there, we get to the F, which is feedback. We're going to engage with the feedback. So basically, we're going to read all the engagement and then see, look, we thought that the podcast would go crazy and nobody liked it. Let's just ditch the podcast and then do it this style.
Yeah.
And then we do again a brief system. We reread what's happening, start it again.
Brilliant.
So the brief acronym is it's basically our Bible.
Yeah.
It's every client that comes in. It doesn't matter if it's a $50,000 client entry price or if it's a 200 grand client. There will be a full-on comprehensive situation. The brief is the same.
Yeah.
The only difference is that inside each one of the stages is what we do will be less depth or more depth. So basically, the blueprint will be a 2 hours meeting for a more simple package, and where we're going to have a strategy, and that's basically it. When a comprehensive, it will basically be done every 30 days, making sure that all the blueprints are tweaked enough for your gains. So yeah, basically that. So brief is how we do it. Yeah.
So do you find that people tend to sign up for periods of 6 months or a year? Or I suppose it's really dependent.
We don't
on
take
budget,
anybody
really,
else for
doesn't
less
it?
than 6 months anymore.
Right, okay,
So
fair
now,
days.
on the beginning,
I
we
suppose
had,
you've got to have that length of time to see
so
how it's going to run.
we quickly noticed that we had the 3 and the 6 months options
Right.
as like options for sales. It was more towards sales. We want to I don't want to lose the client, so we should maybe put a 3 months and a 6 months. But then we quickly realized that the results from the relationship over 12 months is so much better.
Yeah.
So we basically said, look, if the client doesn't either have the budget or the trust in us to go for the 12 months, it's probably not a good start anyway. So let's just cut that out and then have 12 months only, So, and I know that's a bit of a thing now that everybody says, oh, and by the way, we do it with no contracts. And that's okay though. Like some of the businesses do that. But the thing is, we both business people, and we know that without a line of like reading a line of revenue that you can,
That's true.
that you know what's happening with your business, that will give you not only peace of mind, but it will allow you to provide a much better service.
Yeah.
Much better service.
Yeah.
So one thing is we don't, and all of that without contracts. Yes, so what? And then you're struggling, and every month is a stress, and you're understaffed. No, like we run everything on contracts, and we are proud to say that we are completely opposite. Like we run everything on 12 months contract, and the reason is because, let's be honest, we're building personal brands.
Yeah.
How am I going to do in 3 months? It's not going to happen.
It's impossible.
So it's almost like the 12 months is the minimum, but we're looking now that most of our clients that we started with, they have gone through the 12 months package, already rejoined again. So it becomes a thing where you just like, 12 months was a little bit scary before, now it's just kind of the minimum.
Yeah.
Because you see the benefits and you're like, oh, I see now, so I'm just going to carry on, because within 3 years or 4 years, I'm going to be this big name. Yes, you will. Without it, you wouldn't. So it's just a normal investment, the same way you pay for billboards or backbusters or whatever it is. It's just an ongoing situation that you make your name. Yeah.
Because I mean, with social media, it's an absolute minefield, really, isn't it?
It is.
Knowing which one you should go for and how you should do it. So to have a company like yourselves who will manage that and speak to you on a regular basis and remodel it and change it according to how things are changing is brilliant.
That's it. Yeah. And I love to say that we a bit of a Uber of creative.
I like that.
Like we're the Ubers of creative.
Yeah.
And the reason is because if you think about it, a business, like our goal is normally businesses that have a revenue more than $1 million a year.
Yeah.
But still in New Zealand, that's like pretty small. Like you're not anything big.
No.
Like you're small to medium size.
Yeah.
Right. So $1 million revenue, depending on what you do, if you have a 30% profit, you're not making that much money. Right. So that's our goal, is just at the $1 million revenue is the start.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, the what you can achieve with having one of our packages as a $1 million business compared to what you would have to do without a business like that, it's insane. Because if you think about, you have social media manager, a strategist, a copywriter. That's even before we even taken a single photo.
Yeah.
Then we have a photographer, photo editor, videographer, video editor, sound technician. Then we've done that. Now we've got designers. We've got social media designers. They will look after all of the social media style of content. Then you've done all of this. Now you need the distribution. You need somebody that will actually schedule the posts, make sure that your account is live. Then after that, you have the engagers, people that will actually go into your account and engage with your content. Make sure that your account's being seen by other accounts. Now put all of those titles on your payroll and see how much would that cost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get half a dozen of those titles and put it on your payroll, and that's it. You
Yeah.
know, like that's very easily justifiable
Oh,
of what
totally.
we deliver.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it's quite easy to. That's why I said to you in the beginning of the conversation, it's quite easy for me because we don't sell anymore. We don't have like to sell. We don't have to sell. We just basically explain what we do, and then people just go, okay, I understood the value. I want to achieve that. How much is it? This much. Okay, so that's going to be a fifth of having a team of marketing in-house. Correct. Okay, let's do it. Why would I buy the car? I'll just pay the trip. Uber,
is it.
right? Basically the same thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like this idea, the Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Uber concept is great.
Yeah, it very much is. You don't have to pay the radio. You don't have to pay the WAF. You
No.
just pay your trip, and
Yeah.
that's basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
And some people might ask, like, oh, but what if I want to, drive all the time? Well, then you have two options. If it's no longer beneficial to pay by the trip, then get your team, which is buy your car. So some businesses definitely more worth. Like it's the worth of having a creative team in house is higher than having the brief store. But it depends on where you sit.
Yeah.
Because to find, let's say, 3 humans that will do what we do within 12, I doubt it. It's very difficult.
Yeah, no, good point.
Yes, yeah, and plus, if you find a human that, let's just say, content creation, right? Content creation is quite big now, and people are starting to get students like you. You probably deal with that quite often. Businesses, they just want somebody to do some videos. It's just someone to do some videos, and then they get a student, and the student will shoot on an iPhone, and yeah, cool. Like if your target is a bit more like TikTok vibes and organic and UGC style, that's great. Honestly, it's a great idea. Go for it. If you have a strategy, get a student, do that. But if you're going for a high-end authority style and you want consistent, well, you're oblivious if you're going to think that you're going to find a student that is responsible, that is professional, that is good at shooting, good at editing, good at having ideas,
big ask,
proactive,
isn't it? Yeah.
all of those things.
Yeah.
And then what, you're going to pay less than 70K a year? Come on, good luck. You know what I mean? Like, so it's very simple. And it's a good example because our introductory package is 60K a year. So
Right.
like we have everything done pro for you at $60,000 a year to start with. And a beginner student wouldn't be able to get to the level where we achieve, and it's cheaper. Yeah.
Okay, so plans for the future.
Plans for the future.
I bet you've got huge ones.
I've got huge ones, yeah, and I have them like quite lined up.
Worldwide.
Like quite, yeah, I do, yeah, but quite, I guess, clear in my mind, yeah. So, I guess I wanted to be, I'm not going to talk numbers, but I guess in size, we wanted to have 2 offices in New Zealand, one North Island, one South Island,
Yep, fair dues.
by mid next year.
Right.
So that's one of our goals.
Yeah.
By end of next year, I wanted to be having either an office or at least some sporadic jobs in Australia.
Right.
So that's, maybe an office, yeah. And then within those 3 goals achieved, we want to start the second part of the project, which is I wanted to have a studio in New
Right.
Zealand that will basically dominate all studios in New Zealand, because we want to do a content focused studio. So in New Zealand, most studios, or all studios, are based for production. We want to create a studio that will be focused on content.
This is
So,
very
yeah,
exciting.
so I want to have a studio where people will come and film with their phones if they want to, but it
Yeah.
would have scenarios, it would have styles, they are ready to go. It's almost like having a gym,
Yeah.
but it's a studio. So a membership situation, pool table, tennis table, and yeah, like maybe a kitchen, maybe a place that people can just hang out. The creatives can just chill.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I'll have all of
I
that.
will be there.
Yeah, well, absolutely, you'll be there.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is part of the next stage, I guess, of this. Yeah, but we also want to go, as well as the physical brick and mortar, having a bigger studio. We want to go more to the digital side of things.
Okay.
So I want to start creating courses where it's going to help businesses that can afford us.
Yeah.
So and also can afford us, but just want to have more information.
Yeah.
So like the idea of having this business is I truly believe that content can save a business that is from someone's garage and you're just struggling because you're a one-man band.
Yeah.
If you knew what to do, you would then you flip the table. So we want to create affordable courses that will teach people on how to deal with their iPhones, and then how to be more personable on camera, and how to speak, and how to create hooks, and how to use the platforms like Facebook and Instagram. So I really want to become more of a teacher.
Yeah, because nobody's doing anything like
No one
that
is
at the
doing it.
moment.
Not in New Zealand, not in
No.
New Zealand or Australia.
No.
Yeah, once again, using the example of Brazil, a lot of people are.
Yeah.
In Brazil and America, lots of people are doing that kind of stuff. But I want to be the local guy that helps businesses creating content,
I think that's
and
brilliant.
also like even courses on basic advertisement,
Yeah.
like Meta ads,
Yeah.
Google ads,
Yep.
and then just giving there. And then you might ask, like, but if you give all of that, how are you going to sell?
Yeah.
And
No, it's a different route.
it's
isn't
not
it?
really, because on the end of the day, you might watch a video on how to change the oil of your car, but you
Doesn't mean you want to do it, does
You
it?
gotta take it to the mechanic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's all it is.
Yeah.
You're definitely taking it to the mechanic. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much.
You're
It's
more than
been
welcome.
incredibly informative.
That was
Thank
so
you.
quick.
And
That's
it was
awesome.
it was
I
very cool.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.